Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
And this is going to be our Banzuke prediction for the Nagoya Basho. Instead of shoving this into a very small section in the recap episodes, just going to devote an entire episode to it because I really enjoy breaking down the Banzuke.
And it's my house, so I get to be here too.
Exactly. If you listen to our Natsu prediction, you kind of know the kind of rules that I use when trying to break down the Banzuke. I did a little bit more research for historical trends on this one, so I'll go in depth on those when I get there. But other than that, unless you have anything, Jake, I think it's just going to get right into it.
No, I guess I could mention that we've been tracking this and comparing the predicted Banzukes to the actual Banzukes and coming up with scores for how well Ryan does each time around. And
it's every other, it seems like. I do pretty well.
So this one, if the pattern holds, you're going to just crap the bed this time.
Which I wholeheartedly believe will happen. So let's get into the details on why I believe that will happen. It won't happen at the Yokozuna rank. That's fairly obvious and easy. Kakuryu is going to be the East Yokozuna as he participated in the Basho, and Hakuho will be the West Yokozuna as he did not.
Aoyama will be the third Yokozuna.
Aoyama... I mean, he's already in his 30s. We gotta give up on that. And when I say we, I mean everybody else except for me on the podcast.
No, this joke the joke is more important than the podcast.
Jumping down to Ozeki, things are pretty much going to stay the exact same. Goeido and Takayasu both ended up with the same record, so they're not going to shuffle and rank at all. So you're going to have Goeido as your East Ozeki 1 and Takayasu as your West Ozeki 1. Takakeisho, who was your East Ozeki 2 before, will stay right there as he only managed 3 wins before getting injured. And Tochinoshin will return to the Ozeki ranks and will be the lowest ranked Ozeki, despite having more wins than any of the other Ozeki in this past Basho.
So he's going to start out as the lowest ranked Ozeki this time around.
Yes, he will be Ozeki West 2, and I did research into it, and so Tochi Azuma, a guy who we did some fun facts for in our Natsu preview episode, he's a guy that was Ozeki, lost the rank twice, and then regained it both times, and both times that he regained his Ozeki rank, he was the lowest ranked Ozeki on the Banzuke, despite other Ozeki having a losing record in the Basho, which is the exact same situation we have here with Takakeisho. So pretty confident Tochinoshin will be our lowest ranked Ozeki.
Cool.
Dropping down to Sekiwake, we've got 2 new Sekiwake, as one, Ichinojo, got hurt and only had 5 wins, so he dropped out of the rankings. And Tochinoshin, as we mentioned before, got his 10 wins to regain his Ozeki rank. And so stepping up to take the top Sekiwake spot, we're going to have Mitake Yumi, who was 9-6 at the Komusubi rank. And then I think we're going to have Tamawashi jump in there. He was 10-5 at Maegashira 3. There's an argument, I think, that could be made for Asanoyama, as he was 12-3 and won the Yusho, but I just think Asanoyama is ranked too far below where Tamawashi was, and Tamawashi went up against a full slate of Sanyaku Rikishi, whereas Asanoyama did not. So I think that's going to pretty easily get Tamawashi in there as the West Sekiwake.
Yeah, and that's only 4 jumps up for Tamawashi as opposed to like 9 for Asanoyama.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Those 2 wins are a big deal, but yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's going to let him jump the line over somebody who got 10 wins over, the top of the Banzuke.
Yeah. And getting to the Komusubi rank, we're going to start to run into a little bit of overcrowding that is going to happen at the bottom of the Sanyaku ranks and the top of the Maegashira ranks. So at Komusubi, we have 3 candidates, I believe, that could take those spots. The aforementioned Asanoyama and then Abi and Ryuden. Abi and Ryuden both had 10-5 records at Maegashira 4 and Maegashira 5, respectively. But I'm gonna go with Asanoyama here to take the top Komusubi East spot, just because he did have 2 more wins and he did win the Yusho. I'm gonna let that Yusho be the tiebreaker here and have him take the top Komusubi spot. And then I'm going to have Abi, as he was ranked ahead of Ryuden with the same record, and they both won special prizes, take the West Komusubi slot.
Yeah, I think among those three, no matter what, Abi's going to get one of the Komusubi spots, and I think Ryuden is unlikely to get either. I think it's most likely going to be Asanoyama. I would agree with you there. But do you think there's any chance that it's Abi and Ryuden and Asanoyama doesn't even get to Komusubi with that Yusho win?
Yeah, those are the two possibilities, I think. And there's a possibility that Abi could be the East Komusubi, but I think the most likely two scenarios are Asanoyama and Abi as Komusubi, with Ryuden just missing out, or Abi and Ryuden. I'm probably leaning like 60-40 with Asanoyama and Abi, which is why I went with it there. There's a whole lot of different situations in this area where it could go a few different ways, so that's why I'm not fully confident in this Banzuke, because it's not as cut and dry as some others have been. But because of the Yusho, giving Asanoyama the nod here.
Yeah, and I imagine there weren't a ton of data points for Maegashira 8 winning the Yusho. I know we looked up in our review episode, we counted up a couple low rankers who won the tournament, but yeah, they're certainly not common, so you can't say for certain where you think they're going to go, I guess.
Yeah, I know there were two others that we had mentioned in our recap episode. We didn't mention what rank they ended up in the next Basho. I believe one made it to Komusubi and the other was still a Maegashira in their next Basho. So history on both sides of that. But we'll jump down into the Zone of Death / the Rest of the Joy logjam, because when we get to Maegashira 1, we have three people that could feasibly be there. We've got Ryuden, who just missed out on Komusubi. We've got Shodai, who could be jumping up from Maegashira 7 to take one of those spots. And then we also have Hokuto Fuji, who was Maegashira 1 East, only had a 7-8 record, so might be able to slide him over to the Maegashira 1 West spot. But I do have Ryuden and Shodai taking those two spots. So Ryuden just misses those Sanyaku ranks, and giving Shodai the nod there because he did face some guys in the Sanyaku ranks, did beat Nozeki. I mean, Hokuto Fuji also beat Nozeki and did the full slate against the Sanyaku, but because Shodai's 10 wins include a high-ranked win like that, that's why I go with Shodai over Hokuto Fuji there. Dropping down to Maegashira 2 East, the logjam just gets even busier, because right behind Shodai, we had Meisei, who was also 10-5 at Maegashira 7. We still have Hokuto Fuji that we need to place, and we also need to start looking at Aoyama dropping from the Komusubi rank. He could fall into this Maegashira 2 rank, and we have Ichinojo dropping from the Sekiwake rank that could fall into this Maegashira 2 range. And I'm ending up going with Meisei and Hokuto Fuji. So Meisei, kind of like as I discussed on the last Banzuke prediction, once you have, at least what I like to do is, if I have two guys that are right next to each other on the Banzuke, and Shodai and Meisei are both Maegashira 7, they both had the same exact record, and so I like just to move them up identically on the Banzuke. And I actually did a little bit of research to see how feasible that was, and I only went back like about a year, but everything that I saw, if there was this situation, two guys at the same rank that ended up with the same record, they ended up right next to each other on the next Banzuke. So that's exactly what we have here. What I'm going with, Shodai at Maegashira 1 West, and so Meisei pretty much has to be at that Maegashira 2 East spot. And then I'm not going to knock down Hokuto Fuji any more than Maegashira 2 West for a 7-8 record, so I've got him slotted in there at the second Maegashira 2 spot.
No bias in that one at all, right?
Oh, of course not. I almost had him at Maegashira 1 still, so...
Yeah, fair enough.
Maegashira 3, the logjam continues to grow, because now we have Endo and Daisho, who only had 7-8 records at Maegashira 2, could easily end up at Maegashira 3. We still got Aoyama dropping from Komusubi with 6-9 record. Ichinojo dropping from Sekiwake with a 5-10 record. And now we also have Kodo Shogiku dropping from Maegashira 1 West with a 6-9 record. All of those records could put these guys at the Maegashira 3 rank, but only two of them can go there. So at the top of this Banzuke, we're going to have people dropping probably a little bit further than we typically would have them drop. And so at this spot, I'm going to go with Aoyama at Maegashira 3 East. Did some research on there, and you're really not going to see very many Komusubi with a 6-9 record drop down to Maegashira 4. It's happened maybe like once or twice in history with what I saw. They typically end up at Maegashira 2, but dropping him just a little bit further to Maegashira 3. And pretty much the same thing with Endo. I'm putting him at Maegashira 3 West. It's the same amount of drop that Hokuto Fuji I gave with the same exact record. And so he had a better record than Koto Shogiku and Ichinojo, the other candidates for the spot, so I went with the guy with the better record here.
Gotcha. And yeah, it's because Tochinoshin is moving up to Ozeki and we have an even number of them again, that it's more of a clean cut. This is the end of the Joy section. So like Maegashira 3, both these guys are likely to face both Yokozuna if they're healthy and participating.
Yeah, as long as everybody participates. I mean, we had...
Right.
all the way down to Maegashira 5 this last Basho face a full Sanyaku slate.
Yeah, so it always depends on injuries, but like once we have Tochinoshin bumped back up, it's going to be a little bit more even as far as the plan A.
Yeah. And then at the bottom of the Banzuke, you'll see that affects the ranks down there as well. But yeah, that ends the Joy section, and so now we're going to go to the mid-Banzuke section, starting with Maegashira 4. And so same reasoning with Shodai and Meisei, how I had them next to each other. Endo and Daisho, both Maegashira 2 with a 7-8 record. So Endo was at Maegashira 3 West. I've got Daisho at Maegashira 2 East. And then I've got Ichinojo that I'm dropping down at Maegashira 4 West. And I almost went with Koto Shogiku there, but after doing research, as far as I can tell, literally no Sekiwake that had a 5-10 record has ever dropped further than Maegashira 4 West. And so I wasn't about to do something on my Banzuke that has never happened and put him at Maegashira 5. So
you wouldn't want to go down in history as the one guy to ever make that decision, right?
Exactly, yeah. And there's a couple other spots in this Banzuke where that logic comes into play. So almost went with Koto Shogiku there, as he did have the better record, but Ichinojo was a Sekiwake. Kicking him down to Maegashira 4 is already a lot further than typical drop for a Sekiwake with that record. But just because of that logjam, it's just got to happen.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of an interesting situation. If everyone stays healthy, Daisho and Ichinojo could blast their way back up the Banzuke, because Maegashira 4 would potentially be the top-ranked guys who don't have to face the Yokozuna and Ozeki.
Yep, exactly.
And if we know anything about Ichinojo, it's that he is super inconsistent. So if he had a bad Basho, and then all of a sudden he gets a massive break as far as strength of schedule goes, we could have another, the previous tournament before this one, the Haru Basho, where he just had a great one and apparently got promoted too far for his talents.
Exactly. I'm doing him a favor putting him at Maegashira 4 West, because that's where he had his 14-1 record last time and got his June Yusho. So you're welcome, Ichinojo.
You're so kind.
I am. And then finally at Maegashira 5, things really kind of clear up quite a bit. We don't have that logjam anymore. We're going to drop off Koto Shogiku at Maegashira 5 East, which I did find like one or two other instances of that happening, so that's why I'm okay putting him there. And we have Takada Fuji, who was 8-7 at Maegashira 6, jumping him up to Maegashira 5 West. No other real people that really need to fill those spots, so finally an easy section of the Banzuke. Maegashira 6 on the East slot, we're going to have a 6-9 Chiyotairyu drop from Maegashira 3 to that Maegashira 6 East spot. And then we're going to pull up Shima no Umi, who was Maegashira 12 with a 10-5 record and a special prize. Going to put him in the Maegashira 6 West slot. And Shima no Umi is actually the last of the guys with a 10-5 record that's going to make a big jump up the Banzuke. And so pretty much everybody else is going to be a minimal promotion or somebody that's being demoted from here on out on the Banzuke.
So are we getting into the territory where after these guys are cleared out, we're going to have a lot of guys who can't all be demoted the same amount?
We're going to get there.
Okay. I kind of figured that was coming, but yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah, we've got a couple more easy ranks. Maegashira 7, We've got Miyagi-Ryu dropping from Maegashira 5 with a 6-9 record to the Maegashira 7 East spot, and Tomokaze with an 8-7 record from Maegashira 9 got him going up to the Maegashira 7 West spot. Maegashira 8 got Okino-umi dropping from a 5-10 record from Maegashira 4 down to Maegashira 8 East, and then I've got Onosho with an 8-7 record from Maegashira 10 going up to the Maegashira 8 West spot.
So Okino-umi, is he kind of catching a break here?
I think he is catching a little bit of a break. Typically somebody with a 5-10 record I'd want to see drop 4 to 5 spots, and I mean he is dropping 4 here. Okay. So not really a huge break, if any.
Fair enough.
And so now we get to what last time I deemed the bottom of the Banzuke S show / the part I'm going to get completely wrong. This part is starting 4 ranks higher than it did last time because things are about to get super weird.
So you're saying last time it was from Maegashira 13 and down?
That was the S show.
A total disaster?
And now it's 9 down.
So only about, more than a third of the Banzuke.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually ended up doing pretty well with the bottom of the Banzuke S show last time. Very little confidence in it this time. We're going to start off pretty simple. Sho Hozan at Maegashira 9 East. He had an 8-7 record. He was actually ranked right next to Onosho. They had the same record, so I'm keeping those guys right next to each other in the Banzuke. And then at Maegashira 9 West, I'm going to give the whole bumping up a Juryo Rikishi into the single-digit Maegashira ranks another go. I'm going to put Takagenji at Maegashira 9 West.
That's a big one.
It is a big one. He was 13-2, won the Juryo Yusho with from Juryo 2. I mean, that's the same record that Shimano-umi had last time. He only made it up to Maegashira 12. But if we take a look, who else am I going to put at this spot on the Banzuke? Because people that we have left that we could be demoting and landing at this spot, we have Yoshikaze, who was Maegashira 6 with a 4-11 record, and so we'd only be dropping him 3 spots with a 4-11 record? I don't think so. Kaisei at Maegashira 8 with a 3-12 record, only dropping him 1 rank? No. Nishikigi with a 5-10 record at Maegashira 9, only moving him over to the west side? Not happening. So we can't drop anybody into that spot. Who do we have left to promote? We have Kotowaco at 8-7 at Maegashira 15.
Yeah, 6 slots for an 8-7.
And we have Daishoho at 9-6 at Maegashira 16.
Right. Okay, I see how you're totally stuck on this one.
And you could also even go to Juryo 1 East, where we had Toyonoshima had an 8-7 record, who was ahead of Takagenji, but once again, they're not going to promote him up that high. So really, to me, the only logical conclusion is to put Takagenji up there. And as we discussed on the previous Banzuke prediction, it's not without precedent that a Juryo guy gets that high of a jump. I guess it just didn't work out for Shimano-umi last time. I felt pretty confident about Shimano-umi last time. So I'm going to say I feel just as confident this time, even though that Shimano-umi one ended up being quite wrong.
Yeah, that was, I'm just going back to the scorecard that we did for you last time, and that was your biggest miss.
It was, but as I laid out here, there's nothing else.
It totally makes sense from here.
There is other things. They're just a lot stupider than promoting Takagenji up that high.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we could go with Tobizaru from Juryo 12.
He did go 10-5. So that's a pretty good spot. So yeah, got Takagenji there. Hopefully that works out a little bit better than my Shimano-umi from last time. And then at Maegashira 10, it's pretty much the same situation. I don't feel like there are any solid candidates to be ranked Maegashira 10. I still don't want to drop off Yoshikaze or Kaisei or Nishikigi, and then so we have to pull up somebody from down below. So I'm going to go with Daishoho over Kotowaco because Daishoho had a 9-6 record. He was only 1 spot behind Kotowaco in the Banzuke. So we're going to jump up Daishoho from Maegashira 16 to Maegashira 10. And I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, you sound real comfortable there.
That's a 6 rank jump for Daishoho. And honestly, I could bring up Kotowaco here too.
He was a half a slot higher than Daishoho, but only had that 8-7. Yeah.
I'm just gonna stick with what I have written and just be super incredibly nice to Yoshikaze and drop him off here at Maegashira 10 West.
So 4 slots, even though he went 4-11.
Yeah. I could.
That's significant luck of the Banzuke for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, nobody belongs at Maegashira 10 or Maegashira 11. It's just how the Banzuke worked out. Like, nobody has earned those ranks, and so people are getting very fortunate drops or very fortunate bumps up and down the Banzuke, and it makes it very difficult for people like me to predict what's going to happen.
Those jerks.
They really are. They should have coordinated this quite a bit better. And so we go to Maegashira 11, which is not any better. At this point, I'm forcing myself to bump up Kotowaco from Maegashira 15 with that 8-7 record. And this one I had the most difficulty with at Maegashira 11 West. Pretty much the candidates, if you could say it like that.
If we're being nice.
At this point, we could maybe drop off Nishikigi, who was 10-5 for Maegashira 9, so only dropping him 2 ranks. I could pull up Toyo Noshima from Juryo 1 East, because he's the next guy that had a winning record. Or we could even look at Koto Yuki, who was 11-4 at Juryo 6 East, and pull him up all the way to Maegashira 11, which that was how I had it in my initial draft, but then I'm like, that's like an 11-spot jump from Juryo 6, and I wasn't comfortable with that. And so what I ended up doing was Toyo Noshima at that spot, and that's based on, I've seen before, I don't remember which Banzuke it was, but Abi was like Maegashira 7 with an 8-7 record and ended up going up to Maegashira 2. So that's a 5-rank jump. And so this for Toyo Noshima would be like a 5.5 rank jump. So it's not that much more. I mean, we saw Enho from Juryo 2 up to Maegashira 14 last time with an 8-7 record. So pretty close range. I really don't like it, but so I'm going with Toyo Noshima all the way up there. I can't buy Koto Yuki jumping that far up the Banzuke.
That's a heck of a jump that I think I wonder if it'd be worth going back and looking at like how big of a jump we would expect them to get based on their record versus how big they end up getting. Because that's got to be pushing the biggest one that we've seen in a little bit here.
Well, yeah, and I'm also using, this happened a few years ago, but when Kakuryu made his Juryo debut, he was, I believe, 9-6 from Juryo 1 West, and he ended up at like Maegashira 9.
Yikes. Okay.
So there's weird stuff that happens, so that maybe this could be the case. And I mean, this is why I don't know what's going to happen with this Banzuke. So also, we could have put Nishikigi there, drop him 2 spots with a 5-10 record, but when doing research, no Maegashira ever with a record of Maegashira 9 and 5-10 record has ever been ranked less than Maegashira 12 the following Basho. With the exception, here's a little fun fact interruption for you. With the exception of Tsurugamine in 1943, when he was somehow promoted from Maegashira 9 West to Maegashira 9 East with a 5-10 record. I didn't break down that Banzuke. I didn't feel like going into that. So I'm just throwing that result out of the window. But apparently there is precedent for promoting people with losing records. So I took a real hard look at Chiyomaru, Sadanoumi, and Enho, who all had 7 and 8 records, like, maybe promote them up to Maegashira 11, but I'm not going to do that until I actually see it happen in modern times. So
yeah, that's.
I also played with the idea of maybe a 6-9 record with Tochi Ozan at the Maegashira 11 West spot. Maybe he could just stay there, but no.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen 7 and 8 records hold their spot just because of the way that they had to, but
yeah.
But like a losing record getting a promotion or a 6 and 9 not getting a demotion, I think until we see an example, I think that's, at least with our experience, we're pretty comfortable saying that's not going to happen.
Okay. I'm not comfortable with any of this, but yeah, I'm more comfortable with jumping up Toyo Noshima a whole lot than promoting somebody with a losing record or leaving Tochiozan with a 6-9 record. So I'm very interested. This part of the Banzuke is where I'm most interested to see what happens.
Take some serious notes when the new Banzuke comes out, I guess.
No kid. Hopefully we don't see another Banzuke like this for a while. So Maegashira 12, it starts to get a little easy. I don't like it, but I'm going to drop off Nishikigi for lack of anybody else to put there.
So that's only 3 ranks for the 5 and 10, but that's better than
only 3
the alternative.
ranks, and it has precedent.
Yeah.
And then just going to drop Tochiozan 1 slot with a 6-9 record. And I mean, we saw that same thing happen with Ishiura and Terutsuyoshi in the last Basho, so don't really feel too bad about that. Maegashira 13, it gets a little bit easier again. Kageyaki, dropping him the same amount that we're dropping Nishikigi with that 5 and 10 record. So I got him at Maegashira 13 East, and Chiyomaru with that 7 and 8 record, just going to slide him over a half rank and have him at Maegashira 13 West. And then just things start to fall into place a little bit more. We're going to drop for Maegashira 14. We're going to drop Sada Naomi, that same half rank that we dropped Chiyomaru. Once again, same record, same rank. Keep them right next to each other. So Sadanomi at Maegashira 14 East, and Yago we're going to put at Maegashira 14 West. He had a 6-9 record at Maegashira 12, so a 2-rank drop, well within the limits.
Yeah, that's right on target there.
Yep. Maegashira 15, we got Enho, just dropping him a half rank to Maegashira 15 East from Maegashira 14 West with that 7 and 8 record he had. And here's where I'm going to bring up Koto Yuki with an 11-4 record from Juryo 6. This is about a 7 or 8 rank jump for him. So 11-4 record. That's not unheard of or anything like that.
It's big, but it's not like it's not going to be something to write home about.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then Maegashira 16, I'm going to put Kaisei here. He had the 3 and 12 record from Maegashira 8, and there's actually a long stretch of time in the early 2000s to early 2010s where Maegashira 8 with a 3 and 12 record made it down to Juryo. So
yikes.
I don't think that's going to happen to Kaisei here due to a lack of other candidates to be promoted from Juryo, because after Toyonoshima, Takagenji, and Koto Yuki, you'd be looking at Azumaryu with an 8 and 7 record from Juryo 4, and then Yu Takayama with an 8-7 record from Juryo 5, and just how
that's just too generous.
How this Banzuke played out, yeah, too much for this one. As you can see at the bottom of this Banzuke, things are starting to make sense, so we don't need to pull from down in Juryo to fill in the ranks. And so we've got Kaisei there at Maegashira 16 East, and then the final guy in Makuuchi, we're going to have Terutsuyoshi just holding on and nabbing that last spot at Maegashira 16 West. It's only a 1 rank drop for him, but I don't feel too terrible about that. He's borderline, but like I said, lack of Juryo candidates really makes that easy. And no Maegashira 17 this Basho, because as we said before, Tochinoshin being promoted back to Ozeki creates 1 more Sanyaku spot, so we only need to go to Maegashira 16 to maintain 42 in Makuuchi.
Right, and the 42, that is a hard limit. There's always exactly 42 guys. So you just have as many Maegashira ranks as it takes to get to that from, depending on how many Ozeki or Yokozuna you have.
Yeah, and I've looked at old Banzukes, and it's varied in number, so I don't know when they decided 42 was the right number and how long that's been, but right now 42 is the number. And I think it would take an announcement or something hey, we're going to make Makuuchi the top 50 rikishi. I don't think they're just going to suddenly do that on the Banzuke without an announcement. And so we've got the 3 guys that we mentioned before hopping up from Juryo, which means we've got 3 guys from Makuuchi dropping down to Juryo, and those 3 are going to be Tokushoryu, who had a 4 and 11 record at Maegashira 14. We also had Ishiura, who had a 5 and 10 record at Maegashira 16, and Chiyoshima, who could not hold on to that final rank in Makuuchi 1 more Basho, had a 5 and 10 record at Maegashira 17. So this is going to be the 3 guys that we expect to see drop out of the Makuuchi division.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for them because had everybody otherwise not had bad records, Tochinoshin getting bumped up could have potentially saved some guys a little bit, but just the way that the Sanyaku ranks expand and contract based on who's up there, just the number of ranks fluctuates enough that, it could have turned out better, but Chiyoshima just, 5 and 10, there's nothing you can do about that. You're going to get promoted for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, Jake, I was playing around with the idea of creating some form of awards or something for this, and one of the awards for our Banzuke prediction series I was thinking of was the Jake Presents the Dumbest Move award. So out of everything that I did, what is the weakest or dumbest move?
I see. So like last time it would have been for your Shimanoumi pick that was 4 full ranks off or something?
Right, yeah. So what do you think will be my worst pick? And then if you're right within like a rank or two, I'll give you like a super special high five on the next episode.
I really, really want a super special high five. More than anything ever. I think Kaisei falling really far compared to like Yoshikaze. They were only 2 ranks apart. Yoshikaze, if I recall from this, he fell 3 ranks for his 4 and 11.
Yeah.
And Kaisei fell like 7 ranks for his 3 and 12.
But it's all about
how things go, but that's the one that feels the worst to me. And, well, maybe the Toyonoshima huge promotion for his 8 and 7. I think I think the Toyonoshima one's the one that sits the worst for me. I understand how you got there, but I think that's the one that sticks out to me as the boldest pick that you made.
It feels like the boldest pick, so
yeah. I would pick that one. That'd probably be my guess for which one I think you're off on.
All right.
So, on the other hand, though, 6 and 9 from Komusubi, Aoyama, it's going to be tough for me to justify bumping him up in rank. But I can jump through some mental hoops and make it work.
Make him the 5th Ozeki in the
something
upcoming
like
Basho.
that.
All right, so the official Jake Presents the Dumbest Move award goes to Toyonoshima. And so, Jake, why don't you cover some stuff that Tachi is talking about the Juryo and Makushita exchange?
Yeah, we always try and check out Tachi-I's article because they also do this same sort of thing. And one thing that's always announced ahead of time is who is moving up into Juryo from Makushita, the 3rd division. And it looks like the guys coming up, there's going to be a handful of them, actually. There's Takano Fuji, Ichi Yamamoto, Kizaki Yumi, Koto Kamatani, and Ryoko.
That's a solid class of names coming up here.
That's a lot of syllables, and I'm shocked I made it through all of them.
Ichi Yamamoto and Kizaki Yumi and Koto Kamatani, those are top guys for names in the Sekitori ranks.
Which is how we rate guys that we're not familiar with yet.
Exactly. So I'm throwing my hat fully behind. Can you bring that name up again? There's no way I'm going to remember it off the top of my head. Koto Kamatani is my official best name being jumped up to Juryo.
But yeah, the reason they do this is Makuuchi and Juryo, the top division and the 2nd division, other than obviously being separate divisions, they have pretty much the same schedules, same responsibilities, being what are in the Sekitori ranks, they're called.
Yeah. They fight 15 days. They get paid.
Yeah, they get paid on a different scale, and
they get paid, period.
Well, I mean, you're still making some money, but it's not like going into your pocket directly if you're in lower divisions. Is that right?
I think you get like a stipend. I'm not fully sure. You're not getting a salary.
Anyways, if you're getting bumped up from Makushita, they let you know right away because your responsibilities change immediately.
Yeah, this Banzuke that I just predicted has already been completely made. That's how we know who is being bumped up from Makushita to Juryo. So Makuuchi, the Banzuke has already been completely made. They just hold on to it until a couple weeks before the Basho to release it.
Yeah, but because it's already done, we know who is getting bumped up from Makushita into the Sekitori ranks where they need to know ahead of time what they got to do.
Yes.
So these 5 guys, we know they are going to get bumped up. We don't know specifically which Juryo guys are going to get bumped down, but some of them are pretty easy. There's the bottom 4 guys in Juryo all got losing records, and there's 2 guys that were that sat out the entire time. So it's probably those bottom 4 and one of the guys that sat out the whole time.
We could see Aki Seiyama maybe hold on with that 7 and 8 record, and
sure,
maybe
totally
Chiyo
possible.
no Kuni with the 0 and 15 drop in front of him.
So that one, that's already been decided, so that those Makushita guys know what they need to do before the next Basho as far as their new responsibilities. But yeah, like I said, though, we know who's getting bumped up, but we don't necessarily know for certain who's getting bumped down until the Banzuke comes up and we know all the ranks. One thing of note there, though, is we were pretty sure this was going to be the case, but it looks like it's official. The youngster we've been watching, Hoshoryu, nephew of the great Yokozuna Asashoryu, he got a 4-3 record from Makushita 4 West. We didn't think that was going to be enough for him to get bumped up into Juryo, and it turns out that is correct. He did not. He's probably going to be right at the top of Makushita.
He'll probably be Makushita 1 East or West.
Yeah, like almost certainly, depending on how far they drop guys down from Juryo, but he'll certainly be primed for one more Kachikoshi. Will bump him up into the Sekitori ranks.
Most definitely. So not quite in enough time for us to see him in the Sekitori ranks when we're going to see him live at the Nagoya Basho, but hopefully at Aki he will be in the Sekitori ranks.
Yeah, that would be cool. And the other Makushita youngster that we watched, Naya, grandson of great Yokozuna Taiho, he was at Makushita 22 East, but he got a 6-1. So he's probably going to be bumped up to this like single digits of Makushita where he could potentially make a splash next time too.
Yeah, I don't follow nearly enough of the lower ranking, how their movement tracks, but yeah. I think he'll probably be up in that range where another 6-1 performance could see him in Juryo for the next Basho.
Yeah, when you only have 7 matches, there's so many guys that have the same records. So this is the thing that I don't think we would ever get into.
No.
Like maybe someday we would expand to predicting all of Juryo or
maybe
something.
We'll make Mac do it.
Yeah, well, let's make Mac do it. But like a 4-3 record in the lower divisions can like jump you up like 20 slots or something. Like it's so much more volatile. But I think it's pretty safe to say that Hoshoryu is going to be in a position where he can get one more Kachikoshi and get bumped up. And I think Naya will be in a position where he can get one more big one or like, 2 more small Kachikoshis to get up there. But those are guys that we've been watching because their careers are younger than our podcast. So we've been following them the whole time. And because of those lineages, they've got a lot of promise and they've lived up to it so far. That's for dang sure.
Definitely, yeah.
A rivalry we hope to see continue for a long time.
For decades.
Decades.
I will get this Banzuke posted on Twitter so everybody can have a nice, firm look at it and be able to throw much-deserved criticism my way for the decisions that I have made in this Banzuke. And Jake, I think it's time for us to try to do better than we did last time on closing out this episode.
Oh, God. Shoot.
So if you enjoyed this podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple. I don't even remember what it's called.
This is your own part.
I know, but it's usually
not written
out.
down. Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, Apple Podcasts.
Stitcher or Google Podcasts.
Or your favorite podcast listening service.
Yeah, there you go. Flarek says something about we're on
Check
Facebook
out our
and Twitter.
social media accounts. Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And Instagram and YouTube.
Yep.
And then I do the part where I say GrandSumoBreakdown.com is our blog where all our episodes get posted.
Hey, did you do any posts about fantasy or power rankings on
I have
the
it
blog?
put together. I'll probably post it at the same time tonight.
Perfect. And then Mac will say if you have any questions, comments, or complaints, you can shoot us an email at grandsummobreakdown@gmail.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at our phone number, which Jake is
You are so close. Keep
pulling
stalling.
up so painfully slow, but he's getting there, so we're just going to keep dragging it out. Why would you pull up that one? That's like the other episode that we did where we didn't have this information.
I am trying. Okay.
We're still vamping very easily. You can't even tell that we're struggling here. So you can leave us a voicemail at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO. We will have...
Nailed it.
Yes. We'll have a couple other bonus episodes out between now and the Nagoya Basho, including our review of my predicted Banzuke once that is released a couple weeks prior to the Basho. We will see you guys next time. Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Until next time, throw your salt high
and keep moving forward.